This video is sponsored by PCBWAY.
And I love it.
Hey there, this is Seth Schaefer from Team Just Cause Robotics, and in today's video we're going over part 2 of my recap from the 2-day July Norwalk Havoc event, where I competed with my 3-pound robot division here, and you can see how it performed in part 1 at the links in the description down below, or a card up here I believe. And you can also check out my website down below. You could actually download the entire 3D model for this robot and build your own version, or just learn from how I designed this one for making your own robots. Now, the main upgrade between version 3.2 here, which fought in July, and version 3.1 that fought back in April, is the drive setup. The drive setup on this bot was upgraded to polypropylene printed drive mounts, and it also has a threaded insert to hold the wheel axle in place rather than using just a lock nut. This has proven to be much more reliable and much more durable, and a lot more consistent in terms of the amount of friction on each side of the drive than it was in the past, which made driving a little bit easier for me. So now that I was out of the tournament and on day 2 was just looking for grudge matches, different people were basically just challenging me to fights, and I accepted. I ended up doing 4 separate grudge matches, and that's what you'll be watching in this video today. My first opponent was Fallout. Fallout is a 4-bar lifting bot. I have really not fought very many wedge fork lifter robots at all with Division, because at Norwalk Havoc, almost every robot that you fight is a spinner of some variety, and Division is not the most highly, finely controlled robot, so I knew this would be a little bit tough. However, Fallout is a relatively new build, and it seemed to have a somewhat fragile lifting arm setup and drive setup. So to even the playing field a little bit, and because the driver of the bot told me he didn't want me to completely ruin his robot in just 2 hits, I decided to put on my disc blade. This is the disc weapon on Division, and it has by far the highest amount of moment of inertia of any of my blades. This means that it takes the longest to spin up and the longest to spin down, and it also stores the most kinetic energy. However, it also makes it really hard for my bot to turn due to the gyroscopic forces that it creates, which would make my driving in this fight a little bit more of a challenge than it might have been otherwise. With that in mind, let's see how I was able to do.
Heading over.
I see some action around cage 3.
Yeah, looks like cage 3's loaded in. It looks like
eerie.
cage 2 is loading.
It's dark.
Yeah, it's very dark in there. That's Division there.
Yeah.
All right, so we haven't seen who the other competitor is, but I've heard that it's Fallout.
8, 7.
Yes, there we go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Way they go. Wow,
Fallout giving us the box rush of all box rushes. Fallout, a 4-bar lifter design going up against one of the biggest spinners in the 3-pound division, and they just lifted right into that weapon, it looks like.
Look at that, a perfect lift and pin.
Oh no, and we've seen this before with Fallout. They are not able to self-right, but that was a tire, yes. Wow, it looks like even the hub's coming out of that wheel. That hit was so hard.
Now that was an interesting strategy by Division. They reversed their weapon direction while they were being lifted, and that was enough to throw them and their opponent across the arena.
Very smart move.
Whoa!
Wow, and that was another well-executed lift from Fallout. Beautiful move there.
It is amazing in this match. It's like you have rock, paper, and scissors all at the same time.
Look at that, another one. Wow. Amazing. Seth Schaefer, one of the best strategic drivers and builders that we've seen at this competition, but he is definitely getting some strategical disadvantages in these engagements right here. That was amazing work.
You can see the drive side on the right of of Division's opponent here is really struggling, but it is working enough to stay in the game. Division running its weapon slowly to increase its maneuverability. The faster they spin that weapon, the harder it is for them to turn around the arena, and the more likely for them to do that and throw themselves. Wow,
Whoa.
look at that. I think that was a window shot and a roof shot in the same exchange, Kyle.
And that's kind of what you expect from Division. They get these big hits and then they launch themselves all around the arena. The first version of Division was not able to self-right. They just didn't have the speed or the control to do so.
Right.
This version is an excellent self-righting machine, able to do it almost instantaneously after getting knocked over.
Oh, I see. There may be some high centering going on there.
Yes, I think you're right.
And that right drive side, it's functioning, but it is suffering right now, Kyle.
Yeah, not at optimal specs at the moment. A little bit of wobble, too, with that, that high centering.
Oh, that is a bad place to be.
Division taking full advantage of that, and I believe the teeth on that 4-bar lifter are now up. That's the underside getting chomped away at on Fallout. You can see all the signatures there at the bottom of Fallout, and Fallout says, I'm done. Grudge matches are fun, not worth getting everything inside my bot ripped apart by that giant weapon. We are going home. Look at that.
So cute. Those.
So cute.
You like this? Oh, look at that. A chunk
What's
of
that?
the arena has been ripped off. That is a chunk of plexiglass. Now, these arenas are built sturdy.
Yeah, 2 layers of polycarbonate. There's kind of a sacrificial internal layer before you get into the thicker outer layer, which is what's actually there to defend our audience as well as like boxside crew members.
Right. So that chunk of polycarbonate doesn't suggest a risk to the audience, but it does suggest how intense these robots hit.
Absolutely. And yeah, internal like sacrificial layer is supposed to absorb all of that kinetic energy. So when and if...
All right, time for some post-fight commentary. What a battle. That was some of the most difficult driving that I've ever had to do in a fight. There was so much back and forth. Probably one of the most difficult driving matches that I've ever had with Division, really. Partly that was because I was using what arguably is just the complete wrong weapon for this fight, but Fallout's driving was on point despite only having one side of drive for like 90% of this match. He was able to really take control of so much of the fight, and while I was being as aggressive as possible, it was really difficult to do any damage after removing that first wheel. It was only by getting him in a compromising position where I could have ripped through the bottom of his robot that I eventually was able to force him to tap out at the end. But most of these exchanges did not go my way. I was really impressed with how well that front fork setup on Fallout kept Division at bay and prevented me from really getting any hits on the front of his bot. I don't have a ton to add to what the announcer said on this fight. Because I have the disc weapon with so much MOI, it was really difficult to spin up, and normally when my robot is locking horns with another bot, I can spin the weapon up quickly and force my bot to tip forward into them, which is what I was trying to do here repeatedly with the disc, but my weapon speed controller with a lower current setting and weapon motor just refused to really spin that weapon up fast enough for it to really have the effect that I wanted, so I wasn't able to just lean forwards and hit the top of Fallout when I was hoping to most of the time. I was able to do it a couple times while I was up against a wall, but from flat on the ground there was just no way. I'll let you enjoy the rest of this fight with some slow-mo interspersed, or if you want to just skip ahead, you can do so. There are timestamps in the chapters down below. Three more fights to go. this is my robot Fallout, and I got to fight the legendary Seth Schaefer in Division. In essence, going into this fight, I have two configurations. I have a wedge config with some nice 4140 steel panels, and then this nice torque config with some nice shoehorn forks from the wonderful Division now. And the idea was just to always stay squared up with Division for the entirety of the fight, which I felt like I did very well. Yeah. But then Seth did something very fortunate. He cracked out my frame, and if you can look closely, you can see this shaft has some ground flats, and I use a hub, and it has some set screws. They loosened to the point where it just slid off. So I lost my drive like early on. But I was fortunate to be able to stay squared up, and I got some nice lifts with my 4-bar, like so. And I was just able to keep lifting him, and it was very fortunate. The only real damage other than this rail is I think you just bent my TPU out. I don't even think it's actually broken.
I think it's cracked up here.
It might be. There's like a couple littles, and there's also a nice little chunk in the back, but it's really just like the face layer.
I was really going for the back the whole time. It was very hard to get around though.
I mean, I was kind of hopeful that you didn't hit this one spot, because I have a Just Cuz basic board there, and it's like hot glued in with some threaded inserts, and I'm like, huh, if he hits that, I'm gonna have a fun time. And I think, oh, he actually got me there. Yeah, you got a little nick on the corner as well.
Nice.
But overall, I was very happy with the fight. I actually think you maybe hit my wheels, but I don't know where. Oh, right there, I think. You actually clipped my wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm surprised it held up.
Nice. That's
well,
well
either way, it was a very fun fight. And I was very happy to have a nice little grudge.
Yeah, definitely. It was awesome.
I'd now like to thank the main sponsor of this channel, PCBWAY. PCBWAY is responsible for making several parts that are inside a Division, including the main chassis and this PD board that drives power from the battery all the way to the drive, motors, and speed controllers, and everything that runs inside of the robot. They make great PCBs. They also fabricated the chassis that's in one of the bots behind me, and which competed at Norwalk and held up really, really well, milled out of a solid block of aluminum. I talked about that in the last video. They offer CNC machining, 3D printing, PCB fabrication, and more. Check them out at the link below, and you can get $5 off of your first order. My next opponent was Hyperdrive. Hyperdrive is a really cool looking, fast, 4-wheel drive vertical spinner bot. I hadn't really seen it competing before, so I didn't really get this chance to watch its prior fights and wasn't sure what to expect. But the builder challenged me. He had been a fan of my YouTube channel for a while, and he said he was having some weapon issues, but he may or may not have it spinning at the start of the fight, and we would see what would happen.
That's YouTube sensation Seth Schaefer right there. Hey, buddy.
From Just Cuz Robotics. If you're a fan of our channel, go and check out his channel.
Yeah, really does a great job explaining so many aspects of combat robotics. This is a grudge match. That's Division, his main 3-pound bot.
Facing off of what I believe is Hyperdrive?
Hyperdrive, exactly.
Yeah.
Hyperdrive, really cool design, printed robot. Got kind of that mix between Hypershock and the Batmobile. Love this bot, love this design, so cool.
This is a University of Florida team bot. And this was a brand new Beetle facing off against a tried and tested design in Division.
5, 4,
this is Division's
3,
second grudge
2,
match today.
1.
I saw the first one. It was really
Robots
good.
fight.
Lots of grudges Division's holding today. This one, he said, hey, you stole my colors. We got to talk about that, buddy. Whoa!
And look at that, the weapon on Hyperdrive is down.
I think maybe everything on Hyperdrive is down. Oh, that's all supposed to be inside the bot.
That's a battery.
That's a sad face. Tapped out, wanted to save his lipo, and Seth is overjoyed. You see that smile on his face. He's even got a little dimple action going on. That was awesome. Yes! That's what you want to hear. You want to beat somebody's bot so bad that they have to come give you a high five because of how awesome it was.
Not much to say about that one. It was simply over in a flash and just a display of the brute force and power that Division's blade has. I think that my blade had been taking a few hits through from competitions because I never replaced this one. I think it was probably unbalanced, hence the weird like bouncing around. And I'm running at basically full speed this whole time because if his weapon was working, I wanted to try to out-tip speed him as best I could. But obviously it was maybe a little overkill.
Hyperdrive, or at least what was Hyperdrive. This is post-division fight here. You can kind of see the main damage was right there. So I'm actually pretty impressed that the bot, for the most part, held up pretty well. If you look at the bottom here, it's actually, the bottom is pretty intact. This UHMW is mostly intact. This was already kind of broken going in, so I'm glad that that damage isn't too bad. The left side drive actually totally still works, but the right side, obviously this is the side that got hit with the weapon. My top plate was a little broken, but I didn't expect it to just totally fail like this. There used to be another strip of material right here.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, so it went right through that, and it looks like it might have torn me. Oh, it just scraped the duct tape a little bit. That's crazy. Wow.
Jeez.
Serious close shave.
Much worse.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so totally stripped that out, bent my aluminum part of the frame, and then I'm not sure.
Holding on the orange piece here.
So these are just bolted in with the screws for the drive. So they just go right in here, and this one threads
like
into
before?
the UHMW. Looked like this, but mirrored. It had one split there, but that is new.
This is new. Okay.
Yeah, that is very new. Yeah, so when that side got hit over here, it totally pulled right out of the screws here. You can see the tears right where the holes are. Actually, this one doesn't have a tear. That's crazy. Yeah, I just pulled it right out. I'm gonna have to address that in the future. But yeah, my drive obviously was very impaired with this, and then after that first hit and I was destroyed, I got one more hit that caused complete signal loss. Still not sure what that is, I'm gonna have to diagnose that. But yeah, complete signal loss, and then the battery came out, and there was just nothing else to do except tap out at that point.
Yeah, it was a really fun fight.
It was an amazing fight. I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was fantastic. What a match.
Let's
Thank you
try
so
that
much.
again for There we go.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was a lot of fun. My next opponent was going to be another relatively new builder with another vertical spinner bot, this time a two-wheel drive vertical spinner called Chicken Nugget Machine. I might be mistaken, but I believe this builder was from the University of Maryland, but this was one of his first competitions, and he also was a fan of my channel and challenged me because he wanted to fight Division, and he knew that his robot was probably not going to survive, but wanted to see what kind of damage it would take and how to improve it based on that. So let's see how this fight went. Also, the aluminum foil tape was new for this one. I don't really know what that was about.
I see Seth Schaefer. Are you running Division yet again, Seth?
That's what Seth showed up here to do today.
How many spares do you have, Seth? You have 2 spares. Wow. Wow. He is intent on breaking every single version of Division that he's brought.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fight, robots, fight.
Oh, wow! What is that big black piece of plastic right there, Kyle? Also, is this aluminum foil that's on the front of this robot?
Yes, I do believe that is aluminum foil armor.
Wow!
If it's good enough to keep the astronauts safe on the moon landing, I guess it's good enough to keep this robot safe. I believe that is an attempted tap out.
Tap out.
Celebrating there. It's our little miniature Deep Six, Kyle. It's so cute.
It's so adorable. I love it.
Wow. Seth Schaefer, Just Cuz Robotics. Check his channel out on YouTube, and he will show you how to build your own division if you want to.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
Well, I kept this one pretty short and sweet and to the point. I didn't run the weapon quite as fast, so the bouncing was still there, but not quite as bad as before. I was able to get the few crippling blows in that I needed to disable his robot, and then for some reason the tap out buttons were broken, so I couldn't tell that he was trying to tap out right away, but I didn't keep hitting him while he was down, so hopefully it didn't damage the bot too much more than he wanted it to be.
Basically broke this back panel right here, or my bottom panel. Then he also ripped up my wedge. Then also lifted up my back panel here. Hopefully my foil tape helped hold it in a lot better.
A little bit, helps somewhat.
Helps it. And then also damaged my wheel like pretty bad. Got a lot of rubber damage. Yeah, so.
It was a really fun fight though.
Yes, I loved it. Definitely can improve next time, so.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Alright, we've got one more Grudge match left for tonight. My next fight was up against Chubby Unicorn. Now, Chubby Unicorn is not a brand new robot for this competition. It had been around to a few prior Norwalk Havoc competitions and done pretty well. It's a 4-wheel drive vertical spinner with a sizable weapon and has proven to be pretty reliable in its past fights as well. It's made largely out of UHMW rather than just 3D printed parts, so it would hold up a lot better than Hyperdrive to my hits. I did, however, have one problem going into this fight. I wasn't sure if this fight would go the full 3 minutes or not, but I was really hoping it wouldn't, because like I explained in my last video, all of my 525 mAh batteries were kind of sketchy at this point since the last good one I had, Shred It Bro, killed, which meant that I decided for this one to run my 430 mAh battery that I ran in March. I also stupidly decided to run with my wedge disk config, which I knew also had the slowest spin-up time, again to kind of make it a bit more of a fair fight since I knew Chubby Unicorn was having some weapon issues of their own, and I really wasn't expecting this to go the full 3 minutes. But, well, you'll see what happened.
Once again,
8,
there
7,
he is,
6,
Seth Schaefer
5,
with yet another
4,
fully functional, and
3,
it looks like he's going up
2,
against this Chubby
1.
Unicorn.
Fight, robots, fight.
Woo! Chubby Unicorn attempting to hit the wall to self-right. Division coming in, taking chunks out of the side of that bot. Listen to that weapon revving up.
Wow, fantastic. Division, wow, sending Chubby Unicorn into the lights.
Nasty.
Wow! Just going face first. I love it.
Division doing great. Oh, that's the weapon belt off the Chubby Unicorn, all gone. That's the bottom plate of Chubby Unicorn peeled up. It's high-centered. It doesn't have a weapon anymore, and it just keeps getting torn apart by Division. Look at that. Oh, he doesn't care. He's still there for it. His bot can only kind of drive upside down. And it has no weapon.
Wow, look at that. Weapon belt is off. Here comes Division, intent on dividing Chubby Unicorn into two. Oh! Ow! Yeah, I think this unicorn is
it's lost some
gone
weight.
back to to being a mythical creature here. You know?
I was gonna say it's lost some weight in this match, not because it's lost total body mass, just because it's lost limbs,
Yeah.
pieces, and parts.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lean unicorn here pretty soon. Oh! Wow!
Wow.
Wow, Tim Hebert is so happy about his unicorn dying here.
He's wanting to retire it after this
Why?
competition. Look at it, still can drive.
Wow. It's just a flesh wound. Look at
Only
that.
backwards, and it can only turn left.
Wow. Oh, well, what's this?
Yay!
Wow.
Chubby!
Seth Schaefer's weapon is dead. His drive is dead. How did this happen? Chubby Unicorn may be winning this grudge match. Let's go. Yeah, Tim, we're gonna have to see a good victory dance. That's a good point here. Yeah. That's translational motion, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, I feel very translated to.
I hear counting. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Knockout.
There we go. Chubby Unicorn.
Wow.
Let's go, Tim.
That was awesome.
Wow. Chubby Unicorn, you gotta love a theme. And, you know, a Chubby Unicorn is a great theme.
Absolutely. I can't believe how it was able to survive against all of those hits, that onslaught of just pure aggression from Seth Schaefer.
Seth really has the most entertaining fights, especially these grudge matches. He's able to, you know, he's showing that he's able to fix his robot very easily within 20 minutes, throw it back in. And, you know, it's just visually stunning to watch, you know, this robot do acrobatics, you know? Fantastic.
So cool. Lands on its wheels most of the time. Really impressive.
That would be pretty miraculous there, Guile. Here we go. Whoa, looking good. Here we go.
Love it.
So close to clipping something important, Seth.
Wow. And no visible damage really on Division.
JustCauseRobotics.com. Here we go. Yeah, nice.
Once again, this fight was a ton of fun, though it was kind of weird at the end, but I'll get to that in a minute. This one had quite a few big hits, the disc weapon barely needing to slow down to launch Chubby Unicorn to the ceiling, and close to it several other times. I was still having problems trying to control my steering, so I didn't run at full speed. You can see some smoke coming out of Chubby Unicorn there for whatever reason. And so I wasn't running the weapon at full speed for most of this fight, and yet still getting some pretty big hits. The floor at this point in the event was pretty badly torn up, as you can see, but despite my forks getting stuck in the floor every once in a while, I had pretty good mobility for this whole fight, and lots of awesome monster shots from Division. I think I'll let you all enjoy some of the other slow-mo hits from this fight in peace.
and this is Chubby Unicorn, or what's left of Chubby Unicorn after that fight. So the fight went pretty well at the start, and then...
Can I have Twin Beast to the pit test with your rod, please? Twin Beast to the pit test with your rod.
Do you want me to start over or just start from there?
Whichever you prefer.
Yeah, whatever. Hi, I'm Tim Hebert, and this is Chubby Unicorn. The fight went all right at the beginning, and then that monster weapon did its thing. So you can take a look here. These plates are supposed to be parallel. They are no longer parallel. He's completely buckled it open and pulled this right out of its own little puzzle slot here. And the real fun gets to the bottom. You can actually see the battery and all the entrails and stuff inside of there. Totally separated the bottom plate. Now, I usually try and self-right as best as I can, but this time when I was actually upright, I couldn't drive because it was pulling the wheels off of the ground. So yeah, definitely mangled, lots of twisted plastic that used to be straight, and I don't see any damage on Division.
Yeah, so the problem that I had was I bought 3 of these batteries. These are 525 milliamp hour batteries, and they're LiHV, so they have a little bit more energy in them even than a normal 525 would. When on Thursday morning I went to charge all 3 of them, one of them had a dead second cell and one of them had a questionable first cell, which is this one. So I only had a third one that was good, and I ran that against Shredder Pro, and as you saw, the battery got ripped out and Shredder Pro hit it directly, which you may have not been able to see on camera because Jim had to take it away and throw it in a sand bucket, and I never got it back. So I was using this battery, which is what I ran in March, and this does not last all 3 minutes. And I knew that going in, but I wanted to put on a show, so I wasn't being very conservative with the weapon. This also is the most kinetic energy weapon that I have, which means it takes the most energy from the battery to spin it up. So I found out once I was stuck with my back against the wall, all of a sudden, when I spun the weapon down and tried to spin it up to like pitch forward off the wall, I was like, oh shit, it's not spinning anymore. The battery is definitely toast. And then when I got back down, drive wasn't working, and it was just this. But I mean, it was a super fun fight. I got some monster hits in. It'll make for good video at least. So
yeah, Seth had warned that the battery was gonna die, and wasn't gentle to it anyways. So I was feeling all right up until I threw the pulley off. Then we had no weapon, and then we were just trying to do big lineups and see if we can hit it into the ceiling.
Yeah,
put on a show for people.
It was a ton of fun though. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you.
Well, that was a lot of fun. I had a great time at the event, and I've got a few different improvements in mind for Division. Not sure when the next competition I'll be going to is just yet, but I am hoping to plan to get Shrapnel Mine ready for a September 3rd event. Probably won't be able to make the September Norwalk Havoc event, but my plan would be to come back for November. Anyhow, you can also buy Just Cause t-shirts at follow this QR code or links in the description below, so you should check that out. If you like this video, click like, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified when they come out. And as always, thanks for watching.